Hi, I'm Mark Baber. I'm the Technical Marketing Manager here in the UK and Ireland for Sony's Photo Channel. Well, I've managed to get my hands on an early sample of the brand new A7 IV, and what better place to test it than here at Donington Park.
Well, back in 2018, the very popular camera, the A7 Mark III, was launched, and now Sony introduces 3 years later the new A7 Mark IV. This camera is for a wide range of users, aimed at entry-level, high-end amateurs and professional use. It's also ideal for content creation and supports the ever-growing stream media market. It is the successor to the Mark III and raises the bar on basic performance. Sony have combined the latest technologies of the flagship A1 into this camera, making it a new basic full-frame mirrorless camera with high-end features. There are big improvements over the Mark III, including picture quality, autofocus and movie performance, connectivity, functionality and handling. It has a newly developed back illuminated sensor at 33 million pixels and has the latest Bion's XR process engine with 8 times the processing power of the Mark III. Now I can see already over the Mark III that it renders detail and textures much better and has improved colour reproduction, which handles skin tones really well. The AF performance really stands out for me. It has improved artificial intelligence that now includes real-time tracking and real-time IAF, and this covers 94% of the sensor with 759 phase detection pixels. And improved is also the AF in single mode, where the speed has been improved by 30% over the Mark III. It also has 4K 60p in Super 35 format and also 422 10-bit color sampling. Colors are more accurately rendered, and because of the 7K oversampling 4K 30p combined with the processor, details and textures are sharper than what you would normally see on the A7 Mark III, which means that the dynamic range covers about 15 steps in low sensitivity shooting as well. Creative looks have been brought in from the A1 and the A7S Mark III cameras, and S-Cinetone is used mainly for shooting cinematic images in movie mode. The stabilization has been improved to 5.5 steps, giving excellent shutter speeds, especially in low light conditions, and now has active mode, as found on the A7S III, which you can correct stabilization in post. The mode dial has changed on the top of the camera too. Now this has improved usability in a variety of shooting styles. The record button is now relocated at the top of the camera, and now standard on the Alpha cameras, the Hot Shoe is a dedicated digital audio interface for Sony accessories. The camera has a side-opening vari-angle rear monitor, 3-inch at 1.3 million dot resolution. The EVF has been improved to 3.6 million dot resolution. It's an OLED QVGA viewfinder, which is 1.6 times better than the A7 Mark III, and using the new 33 million pixel sensor, it reduces artifacts, especially when panning. You'll now find a full-size HDMI connection with a microphone jack, headphone jack and a USB Type-C connector for charging and super speed 10 GB per second data transfer. It also has micro USB and 2 SD card slots, the top being also allocated for CF Express Type A cards that allows you to shoot more than over 800 continuous RAW shots. It's not just an upgrade, it's a whole new experience over the Mark III. So the A7 Mark IV has the new menu system inherited from the Sony A1 and the Sony A7S Mark III. As you can see, going through the menus, there's much more opportunity to customize your menu settings. At the racetrack, I set up the camera to autofocus continuous and real-time tracking. I then selected between center fix, which is new on the A7 Mark IV, and medium to large spot autofocus to track the cars. Here I am panning and using the A7 Mark IV with a combination of the 200-600 and the 70-200 G Master Mark I lens. Now this is actual footage taken from the back of the camera, recorded via the Sony Xperia Pro mobile phone. I've slowed this down now to 60% to show you how accurate the autofocus is. It just sticks to the car and it tracks around 24 frames or more here. Each frame is in focus. I'm really impressed with how well the AF just sticks to the subject. Now I've moved each of the 24 images in sequence to the editing software to see how sharp the images were. Now I'm literally going through every image, and I can honestly say now, looking at this, that there's only 2 images that are slightly out of focus, and I have to say it's possible due to myself where I've not been able to keep tracking the car. If we go back to the image where the hoarding is and the car is behind it, look, the car, it's clear to see, is still in focus even when it's got an obstruction in front of it. This is just showing amazing speed but also accuracy within the new A7 Mark IV. If we go back to the first few images, I think the fourth one is probably the best image with blurred motion. Let's zoom into this, and remember there's no editing done on this image. It's straight out of the camera. I'm only using the editing software to zoom in, and we zoom in by 100%. It's so clean. And not forgetting, this shot was actually in crop mode on the camera, so it's 15 million pixels and not 33. In video modes, the XAV-CHS uses a new video codec known as HEVC or H.265, and it keeps any increases in the bitrate or file size to a minimum. At 4K 60p and 422 10-bit, with the auto power off feature, you can shoot for about 90 minutes until the battery runs out. Here is the back of the camera recording of the new focus map technology. A Sony focus mapping feature has been created because of the growing demand for movie recording. An improved focus assist technology, focus mapping makes it a lot easier to set the focus in movie recording. In the pit lane, I discreetly stepped back and recorded the team doing their day-to-day duties. You'll see here that the autofocus just glides through different subjects both near and far from the camera. It uses next generation fast hybrid autofocus that uses the densely arrayed phase detection points of the new sensor, which gives it its speed and precision. It's using algorithms from the A1 as well for real-time tracking. You can see it here. It just sticks to the subject and doesn't even move when something moves in front of it. It just locks on with ease. This was using an 85mm G Master f1.4 in crop to get closer to the action. The A7 Mark IV delivers the same level of autofocus performance that users highly recommend when using the higher end kit. The next image is one of the pits with the car in, and this demo is to demonstrate the high resolution of the camera at 33 million pixels. In post-editing software we can see the level of detail is really good across the whole of the picture, from the grates on the front of the car to the damage on the side of the car. Let's zoom out now to see the whole picture. Next we got onto the track where the car's coming at me with great speed. Now this is a good example of high shutter speeds to capture fast movement. The level of detail from this camera continues to impress me. The autofocus on this car at the time again locked on and tracked really well to get this image. Now I was using the 70-200 G Master Mark I lens for this footage, panning with the cars again. And at this time using the real-time tracking I was able to capture this highly detailed image of the car at 33 million pixels in crop mode to extend the focal length of this lens to 300mm. Setting up the camera for eye autofocus on humans is very simple in the menu system. You can select a variety of eye and face AF technology, being humans, animal, or now bird eye AF for the A7 Mark IV. Here we have my son and my daughter with their cousin. Now the AF locks on the A7 Mark IV is so accurate and faster than the A7 Mark III. It detects the facial features of the human face and can continuously track them from side or front on. And if the eye becomes visible, the camera will automatically focus on them and continue to track until you release the shutter button. This is a great example of real-time AF and real-time tracking being used together. Then we have a good example here of all the various new creative looks built in the camera. These are not profiles but presets set up for your creative content creation. I'm going through the list here with my daughter in the background. You can see here that you can also go into the looks, change accordingly the different settings to tweak your look. The IAF in video works impressively too. It locks onto my son's eye instantly without any prompting. Here is also video footage of the 4K 60p in Super 35 mode. The skin tone rendering is very good indeed. The two kids get together for more serious, and what I love about this is the way the camera picks up both of them, with the nearest being the priority and changing when they move. I managed to take a few shots here, and when we zoom in, the level of detail again is really good. In editing software we see how far we can zoom in. Here we see not only the eye is in focus but the eyelashes and surrounding areas too. And when the two kids get together, it shows that the detail in the skin, hair and eyes on both of them is excellently rendered. You can now connect the A7 Mark IV to your mobile device instantly, so you're always connected and can upload images faster than the A7 Mark III. Now with a Wi-Fi range of 10 meters, connecting to a smartphone is so much easier. And like the A1, you can now use the Image Edge app for touch focus and touch tracking. You can also stream with high-speed tethering. It's so easy to connect. You connect the cable, choose USB streaming, and connect to your chosen online platform. And if you have an Xperia Pro phone, you can also live stream 4K in 15 frames per second. And as you can see here in my shed, I'm using the green screen for webinars to demonstrate this.
So what an amazing piece of kit. This is the A7 Mark IV. I was so impressed with its low light, its resolution and its speed. The speed was incredible. It was like using a combination of the A1 and the A7S Mark III. So for those of you that are sports photographers, wedding photographers, wildlife photographers, this camera is a good choice for autofocus, tracking especially. And if you're astro or low light content creator for video, then this definitely is something to consider. This is the A7 Mark IV. It's not just an upgrade, it's a whole new experience, and I highly recommend it.